It has been a while since I've made my top 5 Kirby power-ups video. I think I should remaster it, but I think I'm going to make it a top 10 this time. But
Did somebody say top 10 copy abilities?
TJ, I thought you were only in my Lucas Productions videos. What the heck are you doing here?
Oh, please. I'm always here to help. Besides, I've never done copy ability lists. Sounds like fun. Besides, if I'm joining you on Friend Mayhem, I can join you on your top 10 lists. Should be fun.
Alright, sounds good to me. So in this video, we will be covering all of the copy abilities, with our lists, blah, blah, blah. But, yeah, so I hope you guys go on to enjoy this video. Make sure to leave a like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell to see all of our future videos. And it has been a while since I have done my top 10 Kirby power-ups abilities, and 2 new games have come out instead. So I think it's time I remaster this list with all my new entries and making it a top 10 also.
Did somebody say top 10 copy abilities?
TJ, what the heck are you doing here? I thought you were only in my Lucas Productions timeline videos.
Oh, please. I've been joining you for Friend Mayhem, so it wouldn't hurt to join you in your top 10 lists. Besides, I've never done copy abilities. Sounds like it could be a lot of fun.
Alright, you have a good point. So, pretty much, the rules for this top 10 are, we're only going to be covering the games that we have played, and it's only going to be a top 10. And we have to compromise on a couple ones since our lists were pretty different in the end. So I hope you guys do go on to enjoy this little top 10. Make sure to leave a like, hit the bell to see all of our future videos, and let's get right into number 10. At our number 10 spot, we have the Spark ability.
Spark is one of my personal favorite abilities, and it's one I've grown up with.
Yeah. And this power-up first came to me in Triple Deluxe, I believe is the first time I used it. And even though I didn't use it much, I did figure out in Planet Robobot that if you mash all of the D-pad in one direction, you can get a projectile, which I think is my favorite aspect of this ability.
Well, my first game was also Triple Deluxe. Originally, Spark was split into 2 abilities, that being Spark and Plasma. But in Return to Dreamland, both abilities were combined, and it was retconned as Spark, which means not only does Spark have its own abilities, it has the same abilities as Plasma.
Yeah, so it got better in Return to Dreamland, and it sucks in Star Allies that they brought back Plasma instead
They got rid of Spark, which is awful.
Yeah, they make a lot of poor decisions, but those are my reasons for why we put Spark at number 10. Do you got any more reasons, EJ?
Well, the reason why it doesn't get any higher is, well, while neither of us have played Return to Dreamland, we've seen how busted it was in Return to Dreamland, which, that's just terrifying.
Agreed, it was terrifying, even though I never played that game.
Even though there were other copy abilities in future games that were just as bad. We'll get to it eventually.
Yeah. But anyways, let's move on right to number 9. Number 9 spot, we are going to be having the Mirror ability. Now, personally, I don't really have much connection with this one, but I do like its unique functions in Planet Robobot, which is the first and only game I have used this power-up consistently in.
Well, I have not used that ability too often. When I do use this ability, it's absolutely fun. And while I did play it in Planet Robobot, I used it more in Planet Robobot, but I also used it quite a bit in its original games, Superstar and Superstar Ultra. Especially since before Planet Robobot, it was only in those games, along with Jet.
Yeah, and then it recently came back for Planet Robobot.
Which was exciting. Too bad it was basically a one-shot wonder.
Yeah, we may see it in future Kirby games, though. So, do you have any more reasons for why this is at number 9?
Honestly, the only reason why it's only number 9, we just like the other entries more.
And
Simple as that.
And it hasn't been in that many games.
That is very true.
Also. So if it gets more time, it may even move up to the top one day. But that is a story for another day. So anyways, let's move on right into the number 8 spot is going to be the spider ability. Probably the most recent power-up on our list here.
And the one we disagree the most on.
Yeah, personally, Spider was my favorite from Kirby Star Allies -1, we'll talk about later. And I wasn't going to let this one go. I really like how it can be used to assist your friends in Star Allies, even though that game was super easy. But I also liked how it could be used in many different functions. And when Archer was taken out in Star Allies, this was my main power-up until I saw another power-up. More on that later.
My opinion on Spider was I never really got the handle on the ability, or Taranza for that matter, but I did enjoy using it to solve certain puzzles, especially since it was required for some puzzles in Heroes in Another Dimension. Good grief, that was insane.
Yeah. But anyways, I just think that this power-up, it isn't really good for fighting, but I like it for mobility and pretty much just having a good time when I really don't have any other power-up to use. I always like to go to Spider and Star Allies. But anyways, I think that is pretty much all the reasons for why I made number 8. The only reason it's at number 8 is because me and TJ just disagree on this one. So we couldn't really place it any higher than number 8.
Yeah. Although I did compromise and agree with Spider being on the list because I did enjoy I loved Taranza in Triple Deluxe, and he was one of the more interesting characters I want to get better as, along with one other, that being Susie. But I've gotten better as her. Taranza, not so much.
Yeah. But anyways, guys, this has been the number 8 spot. Let's move on to the number 7 spot. To the number 7 spot, we have Fighter.
Another copy ability we disagree on, however, is the complete opposite. I absolutely adore Fighter. To me, it's in my top 3.
Yeah. Well, for me, I like the copy ability, but it isn't in my top 10 list.
However, for me, I still haven't mastered Fighter. It's one of those abilities that's very difficult to master. Especially since I'm not a Street Fighter fan, but I wish I was after this copy ability. Fighter basically says, I ate Ryu, boy. Find a new main.
Yeah. But, anyways, I also like Fighter. I like how it can do many different attacks. I found this ability first in Triple Deluxe, and I use it consistently throughout that world. But then I dropped it for my main ability. More on that one later.
I also love Fighter's moveset. Seriously, though, it's basically lawsuit levels. We've got Hadoukens, Shoryukens, and even Tatsumanana. Jeez, did Kirby eat Guile too?
He probably did, knowing Kirby.
Yeah.
But anyways...
to be honest, I was just making that pronunciation funny. I do know how it's pronounced. Tatsumaki Senpugyaku.
But anyways, the only reason why it's at number 7 is the same thing. Me and TJ disagree on it, but to a lesser extent than we do on Spider.
But from here on out, we almost entirely agree on the remaining 6 entries, and that's why they are above Fighter in the previous entries. So let's move to number 6.
Number 6 is actually a combined entry because these power-ups are just so similar.
With just a couple differences. Number 6 is Spear and Staff.
Yeah. If you don't know, Staff was my main power-up in Star Allies, and I used it consistently throughout the final lengths of the game and was my main power-up after I completed Star Allies.
While you enjoy Staff, I completely enjoy Spear. While I like my Meta Knights and my King DDDs, I also enjoy my Bandana Waddle Dees. And Spear is just a whole lot of fun.
Yeah. So the main attacks for these guys are pretty much, you can put them next to each other and you won't even notice the difference. It's a staff.
With a few differences.
Yeah. For example, with the staff, you can like long pole hop with it, which I don't believe the spear can do.
Which is basically like the power pole in Dragon Ball.
Yeah.
And with the spear, well, let's go with it and call it a I don't care. What's that? You got a wall in your way? Doesn't matter. You have a spear. Go nuts. Or how about makeshift helicopter?
Yeah. The spear power-up can fly, and if you're doing a no jump run in Kirby for some reason, I don't even know why you would do that, but it is actually one of your best abilities in that game.
That and Tornado.
Yeah. So pretty much, yeah, I think that staff is a good ability. I also agree on spear being here since they're pretty much the exact same thing.
Yep.
So,
but let's move on to number 5, where we agree on everything from here on.
To the start of the top 5, me and TJ pretty much agree on this one. We have the water ability.
While we both never played Return to Dreamland, its beginning game, and we never got to experience it in Triple Deluxe or Planet Robobot. Seriously, Poison was just a troll. But when we got to Star Allies, oh my goodness, it was a whole lot of fun.
Yeah, where I first got attached to the water mechanic was with Poison back in Planet Robobot. Even though I never used it, I thought it was very fun considering it was pretty much a watered-down version of water with a few different attacks mixed in there. But when Star Allies came around and I saw that it was including water, I was pretty excited. So I picked it up in like the first world of the game, and even though I didn't use it personally, I had one of my allies use it, and it was super fun to watch, so I ended up picking it up toward the end of the run, and I used it in the final boss fight.
Whenever I did not have the water ability, I would almost always have a water ally, because I would always need an elemental type.
Yeah.
And when I didn't have fire or electricity, water was my go-to main.
That is why it's my second favorite elemental ability. The other one will be mentioned later.
Actually, I don't think we have any more elementals. We've already talked about Spark. We've mentioned fire. Ice is nowhere to be seen. I think water is at the top.
Yeah. All right. So, do you got any more to say?
Nope.
Let's
move on.
Let's move on to number 4. Number 4 spot, we have the copy ability, the sword. The good old classic melee sword.
Oh man, this sword, just like Fighter, is one of those ones that you could see the, inspiration a mile away. Oh, hi, Link.
Yep. Link was obviously the main inspiration for the sword it even kind of looks like the Master Sword a tiny bit, but not that much resemblance. The main resemblance is the cap, obviously.
And then some of his attacks. Seriously, look at some of its attacks. You've got stuff like a sword beam, a spin attack, and in some games, the Skyward Strike. Dang, never thought they'd mention Skyward Sword.
But they ended up doing it. Personally, this was my favorite power-up in the game for a long, long time. Until I found my number 1 spot, which we will be talking about later. It has since only gone up on my personal list up to number 2, but since me and Teacher are compromising here, we decided to put it at number 4, since he put it a lot higher on his list.
Personally, my favorite sword for me is only at number 6, because it's one of those abilities where I really like it, but if I want to turn stuff into just chopped meat to the best of my ability, it's much more fun, satisfying, and worth it to play as Meta Knight.
Yep. But that's only for certain events, or if you're in Return to a Dreamland or Star Allies.
Especially Star Allies, because I don't care if you're playing as Meta Knight or Dark Meta Knight, because it's awesome either way.
Mm-hmm. So that's pretty much everything I gotta say on the sword. The only reason that it didn't make any higher, because we like all the other copy abilities more than this one here.
Let's move on to number 3. You know what surprises me, Casey?
What?
We're at the top 3, and we haven't even talked about any of the new abilities from our first ever game. Triple Deluxe.
Actually, yeah, we actually haven't talked about Bell, Beetle, Circus, I think was also in that game. Yeah, we haven't.
And then one more.
Yeah.
But number 3 is going to Beetle.
Yeah. Beetle is obviously the best one from Triple Deluxe, I think. My number 1 maybe from Triple Deluxe, I don't know.
Yes, I'm pretty sure it is.
Okay, then. So, it's the second favorite copy ability from Triple Deluxe. So, pretty much...
It's personally my favorite ability from Triple Deluxe, but just by a little bit, because, hey, look at the guy who's a Pokemon fan, and you can tell it looks like Heracross.
Agreed, they probably got the inspiration from the hat from Heracross. But, my favorite, I like this thing. It works as a very good, powerful melee attack. You can also fly with it on wings, even though Kirby can already fly. It's a much more efficient way of flying, in my opinion. I just like how this thing can be used. It's very unique, and I'm happy that you get it very early on into the game in Triple Deluxe. This was my beginning power-up for pretty much all of the early game in Triple Deluxe.
For me, when I was playing Triple Deluxe, whenever I didn't have my personal favorite copy ability, I was using Beetle, and it was amazing. Especially since, actually, both the Beetle ability and Heracross are based on the Rhinoceros Beetle. However, not implying its actual terms. Because if Kirby was as strong as the real Beetle, he'd be able to bench press the level.
Yeah, that would be pretty crazy. But do you got anything else to say on number 3, EJ?
No.
Yeah. Alright, let's move on to number 2.
We finally made it to the top 2. There was a little bit of disagreement going back and forth between these two because when in comparison, these two are the top 2. Each of them are our personal favorite copy abilities.
Mm-hmm.
So, let's start with mine. While I do prefer Meta Knight and Bandana D, I always did like a good fight with King Dedede. Yes, number 2 is Hammer.
Now, personally, Hammer isn't on my top 10 list, but if I could choose, it would be at number 11. It is a very good power-up, and even though I only use it for the level you fight Bonkers in World 4 or 3, I thought it was a very good copy ability to have, and I used it in Planet Robobot a lot more, and in Star Allies, I also used it for a couple boss fights also.
For me, Hammer is always my go-to copy ability. Whenever I'm in a pitch, I go back to a previous level and find Hammer, and I usually get through it in a pinch. Seriously, Hammer was one of those abilities that has saved my butt on many occasions when it comes to either stuff like the True Arena or, more specifically, Heroes in Another Dimension and the Ultimate Choice from Star Allies. Those are a test of your abilities.
Mm-hmm. But, yeah, those are the reasons why me and TJ put the Hammer at number 2. Do you got any more reasons to say about your favorite copy ability?
While I would love to talk more about it, although I just be rambling on about Kirby, about King Dedede's boss fights, mainly Mass Dedede. So, we've talked about my favorite copy ability. Let's move on to yours, Casey.
Alright, that sounds good. Let's get in right to before we get to the number 1 to see what you guys think, we got some honorable mentions to go over, actually.
Yes, we have 4. 2 for each of us.
Mm-hmm. So my first honorable mention is the Wing copy ability. Now, this was originally my number 3 on my list, but we weren't able to include it since it wasn't anywhere on TJ's list. So we decided to put it in the honorable mentions. I don't really like the copy ability itself. I do like it how, for the first time, I just love this thing. But I mainly love it for its use in Star Allies. For when you can combine it, you get a Wind Sword, Wind Cutter. It is just super good with that. And allows for infinite flight if you're doing a no jump run for some reason. And that is pretty much why I like Wing.
And the main reason why it did not make the list is because I had vastly different opinions on it. For me, Wing is basically, all I really got from it is Kirby just flying a little bit faster. And besides, Meta Knight does the exact same thing.
Agreed. He does do it pretty good.
Now let's move on to my first honorable mention, that being Whip. Well, how do I start this one? Forget getting cut. Forget getting kisses from bombs. I want 40,000 lashes. And a Diet Sprite.
Anyways, I think that the Whip is actually pretty decent. It's not my favorite. If you saw my worst power-ups, yes, it was on that list. TJ, don't get triggered. But anyways, I thought it was decent now that I've gotten to use it more in Planet Robobot and in Star Allies. So I've gotten to like this thing a bit more. But if I were to make a top 30, it would probably be in the first 5.
Personally, for me, Whip has gone up essentially in my favorites. And there's a story behind that, which was during the final stretch of Heroes in Another Dimension. You see, I got curb stomped by the 3 Mage Sisters. And it was actually Whip that actually saved my bacon in the final fight. So I owe Whip a lot of gratitude.
Yeah, and then moving on to the other 2 honorable mentions that we ended up having, I actually had Artist here on my list. That was the other big one that didn't make it in. I like Artist because it's a very unique power-up, and it is my go-to power-up in Kirby Star Allies behind Staff. It is very good. I like how you can paint with it. I just like this power-up overall in general.
Personally, for me, I think it's an interesting ability, but it's in the same game as where Cook returns. And I'd rather not use it over Kawasaki. I just like Kawasaki more.
Yeah, but anyways, moving on to the final honorable mention. Since this is yours, CJ, I'll let you talk about this one.
Well, technically, we have 2. Those being ESP and Doctor. You want to talk about ESP first, Casey?
Yeah, sure, I'll talk about that one. These are the 2 abilities from Planet Robobot we thought were the best. Besides Poison, we can agree that one sucks. But pretty much what I liked about this ability, I thought it was very cool for when I started out. Before I actually found Archer in World 1-3, I didn't know it existed there until like 75% way through the game. I used ESP for most of my run. And I like it how you can use puzzles with it. It's decent in combat. I just like this power-up overall in general. Same with the Artist.
For me, I didn't really get too enthralled with ESP and Planet Robobot. It wasn't until Star Allies where I really grew to appreciate it, especially when I needed to complete puzzles to collect stuff. ESP was a lifesaver.
Mm-hmm.
Then that just leaves our final honorable mention. Doctor, probably the least practical of the 3, possibly the most niche of the 3, and easily the dumbest of the 3. So basically, I just absolutely adore it.
Agreed.
Considering the fact that Nintendo characters seem to make for crappy doctors, and if you think Kirby's the exception, then I know just the person to examine your head for you.
Yeah, Nintendo characters are known for being the best doctors. Kirby is no exception.
Nintendo's definition of a doctor tends to seem to be pills, 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 and more pills. They're not for ingesting, they're for throwing at people you don't like.
Yeah, and maybe has these pills tend to have a side effect of death.
Oh, yeah. But even then, there's those special concoctions that a doctor can make, which have elemental properties. You have the electric one, the ice one, the fire one, and then the heal potion. Too bad that last one's rare.
Yeah. But anyways, yeah, the only reason that Doctor didn't make the list is, we just prefer it, or we prefer other copy abilities over this one.
Consider Doctor and ESP the 11th and 12th entries.
Yeah, so is there any more honorable mentions that you want to go over?
Honestly, no. Otherwise, we're just padding at this point, so let's move on to number 1.
Coming in at the number 1 spot, my personal favorite copy ability in all of the Kirby franchise from the games I played. And if you watch my original video on this topic, you know what it is. It is Archer.
Oh man, just like Hammer, actually even more so this Hammer, this copy ability just totally cheeses bosses.
Yeah, if you don't know, you can power up arrows to pretty much make them the powerfulest arrows in the entire game. Not even people with magic can make these powerful arrows, but Kirby can. He can do so many amazing tactics, and I mainly use it for the power arrows, but I also use it for the up air, where 2 arrows come beside him if I get surrounded. And I also like how you can crouch and he puts like a little prop from all of his random games.
Considering the fact that makes you untouchable, it's ridiculous. They took Cupid's cutesy little bow and pumped it full of ki. Yes, that ki. It's bullcrap enough that war flashbacks of Spark are coming back.
But, yeah, I was super mad when this thing didn't appear in Star Allies. I was gonna make a rant video, actually, on how Archer didn't come back, but luckily, my consciousness got the better of me, and I didn't make it.
For me, I absolutely love Archer, but I actually breathed a small sigh of relief when I did not see Archer in the Star Allies lineup. Why? Because I didn't want to have to bend the game and make it beg for mercy just to get through the true arena, which I'm slowly regretting because the final 2 sections of the Ultimate Choice, oh my gosh, I'm missing Archer.
Yeah, I'm missing Archer too. Hopefully it comes back in the next Kirby game, whatever that is. Let's hope it comes out soon. But anyways, I think that's all we got for number 1. What do you think?
Honestly, I think we've said it all. The only thing we're missing now is the probably foreshadowing of a future remastering of the worst list.
Yes, if you don't know, I also made a worst ability a bit later after I made the best, so you can expect another one of these videos to be out by first half of 2019. I don't know when we're gonna make that. But anyways, guys, I hope you guys did enjoy this little top 10. Make sure to leave a like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell to see all of our future videos, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye, guys!
Take care!